Have you tried teaching phonics rules and gotten so frustrated that your students couldn't transfer the rule to the reading? Or have you found that your kids are not knowing how to attack unknown words, but you don't know how to solve that problem? Well, tonight I want to show you how just one decoding strategy can allow you to dump all the phonics rules and even get faster, easier results for your kiddos. Does that sound like a good plan? Welcome. I'm Dr. Marnie Ginsberg of Reading Simplified. Did I point to it right? Kind of. And it's our mission at Reading Simplified to streamline classroom reading instruction or any reading instruction and accelerate students' reading achievement. So hello to all of you who are here tonight. Thank you for joining us. I'm so excited about tonight's training. This is a really important decoding strategy, and I don't share it very often. So I'm excited for you to learn about it and to see what you think, see if you've already tried it, or see if you learned some new ideas. I'm going to be showing some video footage of some students, and I'm also going to be offering you a free gift so you can put the strategy into play ASAP. And if you're already out of school, then congratulations for you guys who are out. This will be a great strategy to plan on using next year. So welcome, welcome. Let me know who is here, who's in the house, where are you from, what do you teach? My second question for you today is also, what problems have you encountered teaching phonics rules, or have you not taught them at all? I'd love to know what you think about the phonics rules. So let's see who is around. We've got a full house tonight. Hey, Julie's looking forward to this. Thank you. Tanya, we're going to go for a half an hour. Kate, welcome. Jess, welcome. And I'm so glad that you are looking forward to tips for struggling readers. You're in the right place for that. And Lynn says, can't wait. Sweet. And let's see who else is around. Celinda, very pretty name. Welcome back. And you have 195 days in Canada, so you have to go till the 22nd. All right, so hang in there. Hi, Marge. Glad that you're here. Welcome, Jennifer. Looking forward to learning a new strategy. Jennifer has been tracking with us carefully, but this is something new since I think you found us. Priscilla, welcome. Beverly, Deanne, oh, you have no volume. I'm sorry. Maybe refresh. Maybe somebody could type for Deanne to ask her to refresh. And Heather says she can't wait to hear about the game. Great. Margaretha, is that how you pronounce it? I've only typed your name. I'm so glad you're here all the way from New Zealand. And she has a snow day. Oh my gosh, that is a first. Here in the U.S., it is, in the 70s and 80s, but she's in a different season, right? Welcome. We got Debbie from Southern California, Sherry, Ileana, Isabel, Lisa, Carol, Beverly, Roxanne, and I am so excited for you guys. So have you thought about sharing your problems with phonics rules yet? I'd love to know what the problems you've encountered are, or maybe you're not even using them at all. You don't even know what I'm talking about. So Jennifer says that she's in Phoenix and they use Spalding at our school, the Writing Road to Reading, right? So we work on teaching the 70 phonemes or phonograms and the 29 rules. Woo, that's a lot for our kids to learn and remember. Absolutely. And April says is a problem she's noticed when teaching phonics in general is having to transfer it to writing and then remembering the rules. Another burden on the kids' memory, right? And they have a lot already to remember with just learning the letter sounds. And thank you, Jennifer, for giving that tip to Deanne. Very helpful. Pop that in. Welcome, Marcy. Welcome back, Fatima. Hi, Melody. So let's get right into it. All right. So there are a lot of problems. You guys have pointed out a couple. The three that I'm going to point out to you about phonics are, number one, a lot of them aren't reliable. In other words, a child may apply a rule and they may be wrong about that particular word, right? We've got a crazy language. How can they remember all the exceptions, especially if there aren't exceptions to the rules? And even worse, sometimes we teach, and a lot of reading programs teach our children rules that are more often wrong than right. My least favorite one is when two vowels go walking, the first one does the talking. Well, that is true only about 40% of the time. So how good is a rule that is more often than not false? For instance, OI as oi, or OU as ow, or EA as a and steak, or and bread. There are lots of times when two vowels do get together and the first one doesn't do the talking. And so we don't notice it as adults because we apply the rule every time it fits, and then we make exceptions in our mind. Oh, well, that's not. Oh, well, that's not. Oh, well, that's not. Well, that just doesn't work so well for a kid who doesn't have our experience. So one reason that I don't like phonics rules is that they're not reliable. Another one, and this is a big one, is it requires our students to go to a part of their brain, metaphorically speaking, where they are applying a rule. But I want them to go to the part of the brain where they are searching for meaning. So when you ask them to apply a rule, like if it's an open syllable, use a certain vowel, they have to go through those steps mentally. If it's, okay, I have to make a decision. Is this an open syllable or a closed syllable? Should it be a vowel, a long vowel or a short vowel? They have to apply that rule, and then they go searching to that part of the brain where they try to think about meaning and pull a word from their oral vocabulary. So that's an extra step. It's an extra burden. And guess who has the hardest time with applying rules, learning extra steps, and memorizing other information? Who are the kids that have the hardest time doing that kind of extra information and extra steps? How about our struggling readers? How about our kids with dyslexia? How about our kids with learning disabilities? Yes, I'm afraid in general, putting that is an extra burden on them that is more than they can handle, and it slows the system down. So that is number 2. Rules often require the student to go to a part of their brain where they're not searching for meaning, but they're applying a system of steps, and it's time consuming. That's funny, Sherry. Sherry says I told her that rule at an International Literacy Association conference a little while ago. I guess that was 2017. That is funny. Thanks for saying that, Sherry. You remember that? Yeah, it's hard to undo. It's so ubiquitous. You see it everywhere. But I encourage you to keep trying to get rid of it. The other thing, and I think Jennifer mentioned this, and someone else did as well. I'm just blanking on your name. The third thing is that it just takes up a lot of time. You have to learn the rule first and then put it into practice. So all those stages of learning anything, that's going to be a burden, right? So we've got these 3 problems that I've thought of, and you guys have helped me think of them as well. I bet there's more that you've experienced. Well, first of all, they're not reliable. They require the child to apply a set of rules, which is an extra burden, and also makes them go away from thinking about meaning. And then it just takes a heck of a lot of time, instructional time, and we don't have a lot of that. And our struggling readers, or our kids who are English language learners, or our kids who are just behind, they just don't have the time for that, right? So those are some of the problems. So you guys have been seeing some problems too. I'm glad that you can share those with me. Yes, that's right. No, Emilis. I'm not sure how to say your name. This will be a great example of our strategy I'm going to talk about in a minute. ELL students, totally. And Margarita says when she works with phonics rules, it's hard for getting the children to see that they can transfer their skills learned and switch it, read it, and sort it, which they love, to their reading and writing. Then you're in the right place. She's talking about reading simplified activities, and so tonight we're going to talk about the decoding strategy that goes, it follows along those activities, Margarita, so that they can put it into play. That's great. I'm glad that you're pointing that out. Okay, So before I talk about this strategy that will allow us to dump the rules and rely on one strategy instead that can free up a lot of time and will be something that we'll use when we're adults, I want to put it into play for you, okay? So I'm going to show you a word, and I want you to just pronounce it out loud and see what process you go through to try to deduce what this word is, okay? There is our mystery word. It's not a very common word. Maybe some of you studied it for the SAT or GRE, but I did not know it. When I pulled it up, search for funny hard words today, how would you say this word, okay? There's a couple different ways, right? What are you doing as you're trying to figure out what the word is? Don't go to Google. What is your brain doing? I'm thinking, is it fugacious? Fugacious? Those are just two switches there with a vowel, the U that I can make. I could also change that A. It could be fugacious or fugacious. Those are 4 different variations. What did I do to try to figure out how to say this word? Well, I tried one spelling of U that I knew, the fugacious. Oh, great, you guys are trying it. And Jennifer thinks it's fugacious. And that's exactly right. Jennifer is trying different vowel sounds. And also, Sherry, absolutely, you got to break it up into different syllables. So that's all going on. The syllables are a little easier for us as mature readers, but the vowel sounds, if you don't know this word, you probably aren't sure. Now, it kind of looks like pugnacious, which would be an but Jennifer's pretty confident it's a U sound. So what we're doing here, we're taking that U and taking out the U sound and plugging in an and trying it out. Fugacious, have I heard a word like this? Or fugacious, have I heard a word like this? That is testing one sound, seeing if it's a word that I have heard of, or seeing if it sounds like something in English, and then just settling in on what's the best choice. And if it doesn't sound right as fugacious, then I try fugacious. So I try one, see if it fits, and if it doesn't work, I try another. And that process that you and I are doing right now is exactly what we want our young readers to develop, even when they're 4, 5, or 6. Because if they look at a word like brown, and it could be brown to them because they've never read it before, and OW can be O or ow, they need to play with a sound, and if it doesn't make a word they know, they need to plug in a different one. And here at Reading Simplified, we call that decoding strategy Flex It. So we're developing our students' mental flexibility to pull sounds in and out of words until they hit on a word that makes sense or something they may have heard. They may not even know the word, but it can sound like something they have heard. And that is all that Flex It is. And we do this coaching to help our kids develop this strategy simply by pointing at the word and saying, yeah, fugacious. What else could it be? And if they try something, maybe fugacious, we say, does that sound like a word you know? Ladies and gentlemen, I did not know what this word is, but it is pronounced fugacious, okay? And it means evanescent, fleeting, something that goes by quickly, like all those fads of clothes that you don't want your teenage daughters to be wearing. Hopefully it's a fugacious event. So that is an example of you and I putting Flex It into action. Wouldn't we want our kiddos to do that? Thank you for the thumbs up. Yeah, does this make sense to you? Give us some kind of thumbs up or heart if this is making sense to you. And if you think that this could help one of your colleagues, go ahead and tag them so they can find this either now or later. So all we do as teachers is we get to that funny thing and we say, what else could that be? And if we get our students to go through thinking about what phonemes they know, and if they can't figure it out, then we just give it to them. Well, try you, fugacious. So we prompt them to do the thinking. We point out the thing that's tricky so that they know where the breakdown is, especially with multisyllable words. And then if they still can't figure it out, then we give them the sound. And so we're equipping our students, even from the earliest ages, to play around with sounds and to be thinking of meaning. So you guys are just giving me hearts galore and thumbs up. Thank you so much. I am so glad that this seems to work for you. Let me show you another way of thinking about it, okay? So what's going on when our kiddos are trying to attack a word like fugacious? Let me get rid of fugacious if I can. There we go. Is they're using their sound-based decoding. We attacked it, like Sherry said, by syllables, fugacious, and we played with sounds, like Jennifer said, fugacious, fugacious. So all of that's that sound-based decoding happening over here, okay? But that's not the only thing that has to happen. They have to connect that with words they either know, or maybe that's even something they've just heard. The words that we've heard are more than the words that we actually know. So you're going to see this in action in a second with a student who's going to read this word that is going to be pretty cool, but he doesn't know what it means. He's able to read it because the words he's heard tied in with his decoding process together, they help him figure this out. So Flexit is really that bridge connecting these two parts of our brain, the sound-based processing part of our brain and the semantic or the vocabulary. They help connect them. And so you see when these two parts of our brain need to function together really quickly, do you see how rules can maybe interfere and add another layer of complexity, maybe another circle, or maybe it impedes that bridge that's connecting the sound-based decoding with the vocabulary. Is that making sense? And Joanne says, yes, OW is the worst. OU, actually, yeah. OU can be ooh in group and ow and oh in soul. It is a nasty one. So let me show you a couple of examples, just short examples of a little boy putting Flexit into play. So the first one is just blows my mind because it's exactly what I've got here on this diagram. He's going to try to read the word patriot, but he reads it eventually with my support as patriot. And then he flips it himself. He flexes it. He plays around with the sounds. Patriot doesn't sound like something he knows, but patriot does sound like something he has heard. He has heard that. And then when I ask him, do you know what that means? He says, no. So it's not a word he knows, but it's somehow deep in the recesses of his phonological memory. He has heard it, so he's able to decode it. And then, of course, the teacher supports his vocabulary meaning. So that's how Flexit works. And what we're doing each time we coach our kids to use it is we're not just helping them with that one word, we're helping them with the strategy that they will be able to use for the rest of their lives, just like you guys used with this word, right? Am I right? That's a tricky word. We're adults, we're good readers, but we still have to put Flexit into play. So let's see how this little example of a boy trying to read patriot, how he puts into play the the Flexit decoding strategy. And by the way, notice also how he's using the blend as you read by chunk. If you don't know about the blend as you read by chunk strategy, I invite you to go to a workshop where I teach that and the other key activities that undergird this ability. You really can't do the Flexit strategy unless you have developed some sound-based decoding systems. And this workshop, 3 activities a day to keep reading difficulties away, you can find at that link, and it will teach you the foundation. So the foundation of that you learn about in the 3 activities is what we lay, and then Flexit is something that you're able to do. So Flexit is a later on strategy that we coach kids to use. So in this video, I'm about to show you, he starts with a blend as you read strategy, which we teach in this workshop. And now you're also going to see him layer on top the Flexit strategy. So it's pretty cool how he's using both. And so the teacher doesn't tell him the word, just gives him enough information for him to do the work of flexing it. So let's hope our video works, ladies and gents.
It stand. Crowd the streets. Alex became a parrot, a patriot, oat.
Good try.
Patriot.
Nice fixing. I like how you did that. He became a patriot. What does that mean?
I don't know.
It's someone who's faithful to in this case, the new government that they wanted to start. So did you see how he did the flex it strategy there? He tried at first patriot. Well, actually, first he tried parrot, which is kind of classic, kind of seeing the beginning and the ends of the words. But then when the pencil gets over there or that card gets over there, makes him really look at the inside parts of words, he comes up with patriot, which is perfectly legitimate, right? All of those sounds could be that way. And he did not try to apply a rule like, well, this is an open syllable, so I should use a long vowel or a short vowel. He just was thinking in his brain, just like this diagram. This is my supposition based on how fast things work. He was using the patriot, and that doesn't make sense. So what do I know? What is a word that I have heard? Oh, patriot. He changed two vowels simultaneously because it was a word he had heard. That's why this flex it strategy is so important. It just enables the brain to do almost miraculous things. He read a word he doesn't know the meaning of because as some distant memory, he had barely heard it, maybe once or twice, and he was able to figure out at least how to decode it. Of course, he doesn't know the meaning until someone explains it, but he could figure out patriot simply from the flex it strategy and the blend as you read, coupled with him not being burdened by having to apply a series of rules. So let me give you another example. Let's see what you guys have to say here. Julie says, you're late. No worries. This will still be here. You can catch it later. Candace says, this is timely. Yeah, I'm sure a lot of you are seeing kids, want to apply always the long vowel or always apply the short vowel. You got to help them go back and forth. So, Debbie, yes, it's like we're seeing the brain working the way it's supposed to work. Right. When we don't burden our kids with all the rules and we free them up with the sufficient sound-based decoding, the brain is a pretty miraculous thing and they will figure stuff out. And Jennifer noticed that the teacher's using that little card. I love using the card. It really helps kids focus on the sounds in the word rather than just guessing the word based on the first one or two sounds. I agree. It really helps the kids zero in on the word and the sounds because a beginning reader sees a lot on the page. It's very busy and distracting for beginning or struggling readers. It's not as easy as it is for us as mature readers. It's a visual processing challenge. So the card helps them narrow it in. So I want to show you one more example of flex it in action. Then I'm going to talk to you about a game and show you how to play it and how to get the free game. Okay, does it sound good? Let's go back to our video.
Crowd the streets. Alex became. It stands. It states that the colonists. It stated yes. That the colonists no longer belonged to England.
Mm-hmm. Except it stated that the
colonies no longer belong to England.
Have you heard of the Declaration of Independence?
Yeah.
There, did you see it again? There were a couple things going on with stated. He first started out with an A and he switched it to A. That partly might have been because of the Q of the A, the separated A, E, but also might have been him flexing it. And then when he got to colonies, he said colonize, and the teacher just said but the teacher didn't finish it. He was like, colonize isn't a word that I know, right? He's looking for meaning. It's not a word he knows, and so he flexes it and puts it into colonies. So he took the IE, which can be I, nasty language that we have, but it can also be E. And he did that work because colonies is a word he knows. And that's how Flexit works. It is super cool to see it in action. And some of you are saying that you have seen it in action. Awesome. Diane says she has seen Flexit happen. When I see a student do this, I know that Switch It is working. So true. Switch It is a core activity that we teach here at Reading Simplified. And let's see if I can pull that link up again. If you don't know about that activity, I encourage you to go to this workshop that's linked there at readingsimplified.com/event. to go to this on-demand workshop called 3 Activities a Day to Keep Reading Difficulties Away. There you will learn about Switch It, which is the foundation, as Diane wisely points out, to this Flexit strategy. You can't really do it without Switch It, because Switch It teaches the phoneme manipulation necessary to pull sounds in and out of words really quickly. You can't come to this word, right? And be not quick with your phonemes. You have to be able to know that it's or you and plug these in and out right there in just that one chunk. So that's phoneme manipulation. Okay, so what is the game? So I like to introduce this game when kids get to the OW as OW, because they've already learned in the Reading Simplified system, they've already learned OW as O. And so when they get to OW as OW, they've got a problem, right? What's the problem? It can be O or it can be ow. What do they? So we ask them to think about this. What are you going to do if you see this symbol in a word and we just realize it's, oh, wow, that it was O, but today I'm teaching you it's ow. What are we going to do? Well, most kids can figure out, well, I guess I'll try one thing. And well, what if it doesn't work? What if it doesn't make a real word? Then what do you do? Well, then they say, well, I can try something else. Exactly. That's all Flexit is. So we want to get that students to articulate that, and then they can put it into practice with a game where they have one spelling like OW and different cards that they have to sort. Okay? So they would just sort these cards like own, or now, or slow, or blow, or lower, or cow. They would sort them into columns. It's as simple as that. And you can do it with OW. You can do it with EA as in each, or EA as in steak, or EA as in bread. 3 different sounds, so there would be 3 different columns of words. So I'm really excited to share with you guys just this simple game to practice the OW. So coach kids on how to do Flexit, practice it with a game, but more important than anything, coach them to use it while they're reading, and it will become automatic. In my tutoring practice, I only do this game like once or maybe twice, unless a kid's getting really stuck on it. Most kids don't need to do this game over and over again. But in a classroom situation, I can see a lot of advantages of doing it over and over again for a couple weeks, frankly, because it's fun and or repetition is good, and you don't have as much one-on-one attention as you might have in the tutoring session. So if you type Flexit today, you will be able to access this PDF of these cards and how to play Flexit, the game, in Facebook Messenger. Okay, so if you just type Flexit, it should deliver to you the opportunity to get this PDF. And I hope it works. Let me know if you got it. You know, technology, we're mixing a couple systems here. Hopefully it will work. So you can put that into play. Many of you are teaching summer school, or those of you in Australia, New Zealand, you still have more than half the year. Definitely coach kids about the Flexit strategy, and then let them practice it with a little simple game. And then more important than anything, put it into play with their real reading. When you're in a small group or when you're in one-on-one situations, let them try something, and if they can't figure it out, say, what else could this be? Or maybe you just tap a letter sound, and they try to play around with the sound until they can figure it out. So I'm excited about having so many folks in the house tonight. It looks like if at least typing Flexit's that's working for you, let me know. Oh, someone said she got it. Thank you, Anne. Very, very good to know. At least it's working for one person. And Jilly, it worked for her. Super. You guys are awesome for telling me that. Are there any comments or questions about Flexit or how to put it into play? I'm happy to share some of those types of things. And I can also maybe show you a video while you think about if you have any questions or comments, or have you seen it successful like Diane? Let me show you a little example of it if I can find it. Trying to find it. Oh, well, it's not coming up for me. Oh, Marcy says it did not work for her. That's fiddle faddle. Marcy, if you just message me, we can have Kayla help you get it. Lisa asks, could you repeat how to get the PDF? So if you want these cards in a PDF to focus on the OW Flexit game, then just type Flexit in the comments. And then Facebook Messenger should trigger you the opportunity to click to type yes, and then you would be able to receive it in Facebook Messenger. So it might be a different part of your Facebook page. I hope that works for you, Lisa. And oh, Jennifer reminds me that I missed Sherry's question, whether we should teach open and closed syllables. No, I do not believe that's necessary, Sherry. Kids can quickly do what this little boy did, changing patriot to patriot. Patriot. When we give them the Flexit decoding strategy, the necessary sound-based decoding system underneath it, and we give them the coaching support to do this Flexit thing. So I don't see that it's necessary. What other questions do you guys have? Comments, questions? Margarita is keen to try it out with other children in the class as well as the struggling group I have. This will help them too. Yes, your higher kids are probably doing this already, but maybe making it explicit will draw out the skill and make them faster. And the struggling group will definitely be kind of like an aha and speed them up. Oh, Julie says she got it. You are one of the reasons I keep being on Facebook. That's so sweet. I know Facebook is good and not so good at times, right? I am sorry that it's not working for you, Colleen. Just text me, please, in Messenger or email me at marnie@readingsimplified.com, and we will do it the old-fashioned email way. Carol's got tricky autocorrect. So sorry about that. Good, it's even working on Kathy's phone. And Jennifer says she has some older students this summer. This will be great for them. Exactly. It works when you're doing little bitty words, 3-sound, 4-sound words, but it's essential, I think, for multi-syllable words. There are so many words where the I can be E, the I can be I, the I can be ah. You just have to play with the sounds. And no rule applies to all the multi-syllable words that we have. You just have to try a sound. If it doesn't work, try another one. So I totally agree. That's really good for those older kids. Jilly says she has English as an additional language students, and it's hard to find rules all the time to help them. Exactly. They're already learning a lot of rules, right? Because they have to learn idioms, and there are some rules they're going to have to learn as an English language student. But I encourage you not to burden them with phonics rules, or at least most phonics rules, because most of them aren't reliable and they're an extra burden. If you prepare them to be able to do Flexit by having a strong sound-based decoding system, they will read more quickly than they would if they just were reading trying to apply the rules. And Debbie is using the Reading Simplified Academy to coach her preteen to help her teen to help her preteen. So that's going to be something you can share with your teen. Very good. I love it. Julie asks, oh yes, would this be suitable mini lesson for the whole class? Great idea, Julie. Yeah, as well as small group instruction. Of course, yes, that's how we always roll here at Reading Simplify. But yeah, that's a great idea. Introduce it to the whole group, and then you can have them all playing this game. And if you have a whole bunch of levels, you can even make some words easier and some words harder. And these are mostly from the top 2,000 most frequent words. And it's really interesting. Most of the OWs are O. I had to really search to find the ow because it's less frequent. But say you had older readers, you could pick some pretty hard words, a lot harder than own, and give them different sets if you wanted to differentiate. But even if you didn't, it would still be good to introduce it as a group and then put it into practice in small groups and play this game. You're welcome, Sherry. Glad you are here. Hi, Sarah. Welcome. And Candace says, Flex, it gives the student more decoding power and they feel more confident and motivated to work out unknown words. Yes, it's putting so much capability into their hands. It's very exciting. And you can teach this to 4 and 5 and 6-year-olds. So once they've got this strategy and the sound-based decoding that's undergirds it, they're just off to the races. They'll start figuring out word after word after word. It's super exciting. So thanks for tuning in. I hope that this gave you some encouragement to not feel bad about dumping the phonics rules, at least for a time. Give it a try. Try to flex it into play. And if you don't have the tools for how to teach that sound-based decoding system, I encourage you to go to readingsimplified.com/event. And there you'll learn about the core activities we teach here at Reading Simplified that moves everyone along really rapidly. And my final announcement is that we're in the home stretch for our end of year challenge. Many of you are participating. Don't forget to put your comment on the blog post by Friday, June 8th, okay? Because everybody who puts a comment on that blog post will at least get a sorted packet. That's a packet to help you teach the long vowel E in this case. And then some people will even win bigger things. One person's going to win 3 free months to the Reading Simplified Academy for their comments. So if you don't know what I'm talking about and you're curious about it, just go to readingsimplified.com, and the first post that's there is the end of year challenge. It applies to us in the Northern Hemisphere who are finishing up school, but even if you are in the Southern Hemisphere, it's still some great resources, 20 days of lesson plans and some ongoing coaching through email. And so I hope that that can serve you and maybe give you some inspiration, particularly with those kids who are a little behind. So thanks for such a great evening. I've enjoyed all the sharing and hearing from you all from across the globe. And you're most welcome, Jennifer. And thank you for being here, Victoria. And Michelle, I was talking about the 2,000 most frequent words. It's actually not available anymore. It's the 4,000 most frequent words, and I haven't been able to find it lately. But if you could at least find the top 1,000 words by looking for fry, just Googling fry 1,000 words, and you can get the most frequent ones there. I'm going to try to track that list down because I haven't found it, the top 4,000. That was an interesting bit of research that fourth graders are fluent, automatic with 4,000 words, and that's kind of a hallmark of what a good fourth grade reader would be. That many words they have to be automatic with. And so that's where I go to pull the word list that we use in the Reading Simplified Academy for our materials. So hopefully that is just a little bit of background there. Anyway, we're going live again next Tuesday at 8 p.m. Eastern. So please show up again there for another mini training and maybe a freebie. We'll see. Thanks for being here tonight.